Yo guys, what's going on? Insanity coming back at you today with another Division 2 video, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the highlights that came out of today's State of the Game for March 6, 2019. Now, this is the last State of the Game that is going to be put out before launch, at least for early access, on March 12th next week. And they did say that they were going to be returning for another State of the Game the day after on Wednesday, March 13th. So be sure to go ahead and stay tuned to their Twitch channel at twitch.tv/The Division Game for more information and up-to-date news. And let's just go ahead and dive straight into the main highlights of today's main news. Now, one of the things that I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about, and it's actually pretty freaking interesting about how this is all going to go down, is how you're going to be able to transfer yourself from World Tier 1, World Tier 2, World Tier 3, 4, and so on. Now, it's actually going to be pretty interesting to know that World Tier 5 is not going to be available at launch for all players until it is something that is actually going to be released with the inclusion of the Black Tusk Stronghold, which would be available through a patch at a later date. We don't know when that's going to be, but they did say it's going to be a little bit after launch. Not too long, but sometime after launch. Now, how do you get from World Tier 1 to 4? Basically, World Tier 1 has a max gear score of 300. World Tier 2 has a max gear score of 350. World Tier 3 is at 400, and World Tier 4 is at 450. So based on this scaling, we should assume that World Tier 5 is going to max us out at 500 if that is the case. Now, the other thing that I really wanted to go ahead and talk to you about is how in the world do you transition from World Tier 1 to the next one up and so on and so forth. Basically, in order to advance world tiers, agents must have to beat the World Tier Challenge, which is 2 invaded missions featuring the Black Tusk and an invaded stronghold. The stronghold has a gear score requirement, which means one's loadout power needs to be at least this required amount in order to attempt the stronghold challenge. Successfully completing the stronghold challenge will automatically advance agents to the next world tier. So again, it feels a lot better than just trying to hunt for loot, trying to get to that next gear score number, and then moving over to the next world tier. This actually gives players an opportunity to try and find loot, better their character, and then actually have an end goal objective before moving on to the next world tier. And then you're going to go ahead and repeat that process through World Tier 2, 3, and 4. And hopefully when World Tier 5 comes around, I have a pretty good feeling this is going to be around the time that the raid is also going to be released. So we should all be at a pretty decent high max gear score to try and make that raid a much more enjoyable experience while being challenging at the same time. Now, the next thing on the list that I really wanted to go ahead and dive in with you guys is how open world bosses are going to be working in the game, and how there's actually going to be a little bit of a nice little mini game with inside trying to kill all the open world bosses, and how it's going to be different from the Division 1. Now, this time around, Washington, D.C. is going to be plagued with open world bosses in a way that we had never seen before, and the fact that there's going to be a total of 52 of them compared to how it was of the normal 15 in the original game. Now, that is a huge, huge difference. And when I say that they're going to be a little bit different this time around, with there being all 52 of them, they are going to have random spawn locations. It's not going to be like it's been before where you could just take a route, kill all the bosses, and repeat that entire section all over again in 4 hours. No, this time around, you must kill all 52 bosses before a new wave of them can even spawn in. So that's one thing. And the other thing is you have to pay attention to the idea that there is a mini game going on inside of killing all these bosses. There's going to be 13 bosses for each of the different factions for a total of 52, and each one is going to drop a card. When you get an entire suit, it's going to unlock a certain piece of an item or gear or weapon. We really don't know just yet, but that's something that's all being saved and trying to be spoiler free for later on, which I'm happy about. Don't spoil all the cool stuff for us yet. I mean, they gave us a ton of information today, and a lot of people were great to hear and take a look at, but at the same time, people do indeed want to be 100% spoiler free and actually be surprised throughout this entire thing, and I don't blame them. But next thing on the list is how we are going to be jumping all through the crazy idea of, oh my gosh, I have this amazing gear, but too bad it's a green, but now I'm starting to really start getting this really cool blue and purple stuff as I'm progressing through the story. Do not freak out. If you have a gun that you feel like you can't live without and you are afraid that you're not going to be able to pick one up at a later stage, guess what? Recalibration is going to be working in a brand new way this time around, and it's going to be a ton times better than it was in the original game. And the reason for that is because we're going to be able to try and take stuff such as blueprints and weapons and gear, branded gear sets, all this stuff, and transition it from a lower state, rather that be something along the lines of what are the different settings that there are out there? I know that there's gray, there's green, there's blue, purple, high end, and exotic, which we don't know that color yet, but we'll get there eventually, hopefully. One of the major things is you're gonna be able to take that green item, that blue item, go ahead and throw some amazing materials that you've been collecting throughout the entire game world, and try and upgrade that item to make it a blue or make it a purple, or hell, even make it a high end once you get to that later part in the game and you're actually able to start crafting that kind of stuff, or even upgrading based on the materials that you have, which is actually really exciting to see that if there's a gun that you feel is your baby and you just love using it over and over. Like for me, I love the CTAR 21 in the betas and the technical tests that I've been a part of. And the idea of getting one early in the game, sure, I know I'll get more than one, but if it has one with a certain talent that I do not want to get rid of, I'm going to go ahead and keep trying to upgrade that. Now, the talent situation part of it is going to be a little bit different this time around, because whenever you try and break something down or try and upgrade it, things are going to change a little bit more. And it's going to be really interesting to see how one piece of gear that you thought was wonderful and great, and the moment you try upgrading it, it may turn into something completely different, and you may not like it at all based on the talents or the stats that you get from your original piece of gear, which is kind of scary to know, but hey, it's okay. I'm going to be down to see how everything goes and how everything works, and try and master the ability of crafting to ensure that I have the best possible way to make it through the original story and to progress to the end game. And that's exactly what I'm going, what I want to do for you guys. I want to make sure I have guides on how to do this kind of stuff. And I'm really going to try and dig deep into all the progression that's in the Division 2. Now, the last thing I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about is the fact that, oh, what did the Division do today? Yes, the Ubisoft devs have officially launched a partnered Discord channel for the Division community. Yes, it's officially launched as of today. You can find the link down in the description down below. I believe it's discord.gg/the Division game. It'll take you straight to it. And it has got all kinds of stuff, whether it be developers, ETF community members, cosplayers, streamers, content creators, not to mention LFG chats, voice chats, all kinds of stuff, clan recruitments, everything you could possibly want for the Division game, the Division 2, all of it in one wonderful place. Yes, I know that I have my own personal Discord, but for everyone out there who wants to be a part of the bigger picture for the Division community as a whole, this could be your second home, especially when it comes to trying to find raid members. Raid members are going to be a pain to try and put all this stuff together with, and believe me, this server is going to be a huge help with looking for groups and so on and so forth. Anyways, that's pretty much going to go break down everything that I feel that it was extremely important to go ahead and talk a little bit about today. World tier advancement, crafting, world open world bosses, and of course that new Discord community partner chat that is now available over on the Discord servers. So yeah, that's all I got, guys. We are less than a week away from the launch of the Division 2. I can't wait. I'm ready. Agents activated are going to be happening all over again. Yes, I have the Tommy the teddy bear. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a beautiful plushy teddy bear representing and being like a huge replica of the teddy bear hanging off the backpack in the Division 2 launch trailer. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited. I'm ready. My brain is on overload with the amount of information and the fact that we are so close, but yet it feels so far away. Just a few more sleeps and a few more sunrises, and we'll be able to go back into Washington, D.C. and keep the loot for good. Yes. Anyways, I'm Insanity, guys. Be sure to go ahead and follow me over on Twitch if you haven't already. I'm going to be streaming live and doing as much as I can over there while trying to create you guys videos over here. I promise you, the vendor resets are coming back starting next week. Like if you haven't, sub if you're new, and I'll see you next time, guys. Peace out.